mic's muted. There you go. Everyone, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Anyone that's lurking in the chat. The sound. There you go. Can you hear me now, Lily? Am I good? Am I good? Are you going deaf? Yeah, I forgot to unmute it.
Hi, Lily.
Yeah, so today I'm gonna be interviewing, having a conversation. Well, having a conversation. I don't want to say interview. We're having a conversation with Stefan. He is an intern that we have currently that is going through the final stint of your boot camp. Correct? This last month is your kind of like final thing, right, Stefan?
Yeah, it is. This is the final stretch out of this 4-month program.
Okay. Yeah. So we're just gonna have a casual conversation with him about him, about the boot camp school, and then maybe some takeaways from that, and hopefully helping other people go through the whole boot camp ordeal and making right decisions. So I guess to get it started, let's just talk. You just want to introduce yourself and who you are.
Yeah, of course. So I'm Stephen Bilham. I'm new to the coding world. I attended the University of California, San Diego, and I was a communication major. And I did a minor in business, the whole traditional 4-year experience. Um, I got into coding. I had a few friends who went the non-traditional route, and they were getting good jobs. And optimally, the goal out of college was getting a job. But I felt that it was a pretty saturated market, and I always had an eye for design. So I started doing HTML, some CSS, and some JavaScript, and building small projects that I'd find on Udemy or courses as such. And then I came across a boot camp in downtown San Diego that had good reviews, and I started attending it at the end of September. And now I'm here at the internship.
Very cool. Yeah. Um, see. Prior to the boot camp, what were you trying? Were you trying to look for other jobs, and then what was your experience prior to the boot camp in terms of like workplace happiness levels or anything like that?
Yeah, of course. I worked at a lot of restaurants back in the day to get myself through college and pay for all my classes. Um, I just kind of didn't see anywhere to go from like just being a server. So I wanted to find a more defined pathway for what you would call a career. I had some friends, as stated previously, go to other boot camps that I went to, and they found their feet, they liked it. I just did some research, and I thought I could make a career out of this. So naive Steven thought, in the beginning of the boot camp or after 4 months, so I'd be getting, a job instantaneously. But the more current day Steven understands, how much you have to put in, and you what you got to do to get a career out of this.
Gotcha. Cool. And so, Lily, you have a question. I want to get to that question a little bit later on in terms of the challenges, but definitely we're going to get to that question, Lily, for you. And hello, everyone else. Juan and Pac-Man, thanks for stopping by. So yeah, so we're just gonna kind of go through from the beginning to what is now. So we'll try to tease out any questions, and if there's anything that you want to go more deeper in, let us know in chat, and we'll make sure to I'll make sure to put that up. And then let's see. So Lily's asking like that past Steven, the current day Steven. I
Yeah, I like past Steven too.
have So Pac-Man's asking in terms of your background. They missed the background. Do you have much of any experience with the coding boot camps prior to this?
No, I would just go online and find free like Codemy. I forget what it's called, but I'd find like introductions to CSS, HTML, where pretty much you'll build like a menu. I was talking about restaurants, so you give it the titles. You use your H1s, your H2s, your H3s. You do some basic styling to get divs in the right place. And I just thought it was super cool because in college, all I would do was pretty much write essays on people that are pretty much irrelevant at this time. So actually having something made was like the coolest thing for me. And it had something to show for the work that you put in, and that's ultimately what drew or had driven me towards the career of coding. Was I have something to show for the work that I put in.
Yeah. So you felt that the path you were taking at the time, like you wanted to be a creator, you wanted to be a content creator, you wanted to make stuff, but you just felt like where you were going at the time, the path you currently had chosen just wasn't scratching that itch for you. Whereas when you created a web page, that was like God moment for you.
Yeah, yeah, I felt like a developer after one class, and then you go 4 months later, and you're like, oh, there's a lot more to this. There's a lot more you could do, and it's there's infinite knowledge in this field of work.
Whoa, Clarkio is just rating us with 25 people. So we have 25 new guests coming into the chat. Thank you very much, Clarkio. Shout out to him and his stream. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
Right now. So hopefully no one's caught in an ad break. But right now we're having a conversation about coding boot camps and Stefan's experience going through one. He's still at the very tail end of it. He's an intern right now. Hey, and thank you very much for that follow, Clarkio. But he's an intern right now with us doing kind of like that's the last stint of his coursework. So I thought a perfect opportunity for people to get some insight about coding boot camps and get some questions or answers and ask questions that they want. But thank you everyone for the follows. Just Web, Bald Bearded Builder, Electric Havoc, Updoc, Mary Jo. Thank you very much for those follows. Just coming in hot. I think Electric Havoc. Did I say Electric? Yeah, I did. Okay. All right. So let's try to get to the next step of this whole thing. And let's see. So we already covered why you're interested in web dev. I guess I'm curious to hear, prior to dabbling a little bit into web dev, what were your thoughts about web dev? Like what it was, all that type of stuff. I'm always curious to hear about people that are not originally not super technically inclined, what you were thinking coming in about web dev.
Yeah, that's funny because I didn't take many computer classes. So I actually didn't know a lot about tech. I thought it would be a challenge, which I found out to be most definitely true. But I thought, I've been through college. I'm able to learn. I'm self-efficient. That I would get through it, and good enough. I did, but it was hard. But having a technical background definitely would help. If that answers your question, maybe Mr. Park.
I know. I'm just curious, like what you thought, because some people don't know how much what's like. Some people like have certain expectations about what technically a web dev is. So that was like the general question. But yeah, just your thoughts and stuff like that coming in.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I knew it was going to be a tricky path. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, as a lot of boot camp people don't. I remember myself in the beginning reaching out on like LinkedIn or any way I could find grads from the boot camp, which most of them did not respond. So it was going into oblivion, and then I made it through.
Yeah. Cool. So let's see. So moving on. So so you said before that you discovered boot camp. You found out about boot camp schools because of your friends, and they had taken a boot camp school or two.
Yeah, I said, I was going through the traditional path. Like I thought after high school, it's like, oh, you got to go to the 4 year institution to get a job. It's just, traditional. And then I had two friends who, they're like, I'm not going to go do that. I'm going to spend these 4 years actually, gaining is skill in, computer science, or they're just doing projects, more go-getters. And they went up to, I believe, Hack Reactor was their boot camp, and they're very happy with their decisions, and they both got jobs pretty fast after their boot camp.
Mhm.
And I like, as I said, I like my CSS, I like my HTML and my JavaScript, like pre-work, and I took the jump and I went straight to web development.
Nice. Um, Interesting enough, here at Zeal, Zan, which you've seen in our stand-ups, he went to Hack Reactor.
Oh, nice.
So, in a later stream, on a later date, I plan on having Zan on to talk about his experience post boot camp. So going through Hack Reactor and all the type of stuff he wants, all the type of stuff, all wisdom and stuff he can try to impart. And actually, that one Notion doc talking about for you, Stefan, the one about linting and about testing and stuff like that. Zan wrote all those for you guys because he's like he tried to figure out what type of wisdom and what type of information he can give you through the mind of a new bootcamp student or graduating bootcamp student. So that's why it was like very. So he tried to write out all that stuff to be very informative.
Hmm.
Looks like Electric Havoc has a question coming in.
Yeah.
Let's see. So let's see. We may have missed this, but what was the primary tech in this boot camp? And then, so yeah, I think that does roll into about. So we can roll this into the next question I was going to have is how did you find the current bootcamp school it is? If you want to talk about the bootcamp school that you're going through right now, and I guess what you're currently learning at that bootcamp.
Yeah, I have my portfolio that I sent over earlier that shows the tech stack that I did, but for the languages, it was JavaScript, then it was Ruby, and then we did SQL, and I'm probably forgetting something, but for the frameworks, it was React and Ruby on Rails. And then we use for testing RSpec and Jest, and then we use AWS and GitHub. That was pretty much what we went through, and then coming to the internship, there's a lot more. Yeah, this is what I built. It was based off of a template that I changed drastically. It doesn't even resemble what it looked like prior, but it has the projects that I worked on in class and outside of the boot camp, and it should show. Yeah, so HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, Ruby, SQL, all the projects that were done on my own time and outside of the camp.
I would say that I really like this portfolio page. I think it looks really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on it. I also think about boot camps. They help you find your feet. Half the camp wanted to go to the back end and deal with data, and I really have had that eye for design. As I said, the reason I got into coding was I really enjoyed having something to show for the work that I put in, and I really wanted to, show that in my portfolio. So I took the time. I made it. I figured out I use media queries to make it static for mobile, and it's all responsive. So it was a very fun project, and it shows how much you can learn in 3 months, which is truly amazing.
Yeah, so it took 3 months. So how many weeks in total was your boot camp program, or is?
12 weeks.
12 weeks total. Okay.
Yeah, and then another 4 weeks for the internship, which I am on right now, day 5.
Yeah. So that kind of rolls into Robert Table's question about he's curious about the tuition / job placement of the boot camp, and because boot camp schools vary in terms of all that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Tuition, I mean, I spent a lot more at university than I did even close to spending on the boot camp. Um, I think it was around like ten to $15,000 for the boot camp. Um, it I feel like I've got my money's worth most definitely, especially with this internship. I've gained skills and I've been put on a path that it's easy for you to go in a different direction and maybe a wrong direction than what tech is, evolving into. So they really amplify what are the most like used tech stacks in 2019 or 2020 coming up, and they have payment plans where I think after you get your first job, you could start paying them back. I'm not entirely sure on the payment, but I thought it was a good deal and I don't regret doing it.
Cool. And then hopefully that answer. Let me know if that answer your
Yeah.
question, Robert Tables. If not, we can elaborate on that more. And then also Updoc asked the question about did you learn Ruby on Rails at the same time while going through this. So do you want to talk about just the curriculum in general for your bootcamp school and like how it was structured for you?
Yeah, I can most definitely do that. It is fast paced. Um, and pretty much by week, you would learn a language or a framework. Um, I mean, the frameworks were a little bit different. You would be using, Ruby on Rails, and then, JavaScript, HTML, CSS on React for a while. So the frameworks you had a lot more time with. But by week, you normally learned a new language, and then you would have more time with the frameworks. Um, you would use testing, and I mean, overall, it is fast paced, and they talk about a tree model, which is pretty much they want to introduce you to as much as they can, and then at the end of it, it's pretty much your responsibility to go into the things that you like. Like as I found, I like front end, so you could have a more profound um, education if you want to go down that path. Like if I wanted to do React and I want to do CSS, I'm accountable for learning more. But they do take you past the basic, introduction that you find online. Like if that makes sense.
Hmm. And so for your boot camp, it was 8 hours a day roughly, right?
Uh,
Well,
technically,
like in
yeah.
class, like,
In class, yes.
and then how much time did you spend outside of class each day? So in total, how many hours a day or a week were you in class slash studying, doing project work and stuff like that?
Um, Oy. I would say 60 hours maybe, but that's just because I like the work. I would show up early, just to revise what I learned the day before, and I'd stay later at night and review my notes, just to make sure that I have a grasp of everything. As said, it's fast paced. You don't want to, forget a big portion of what you learned the day before and then get even more stuck. So that was just my routine. Some people did the straight 9 to 5, and it worked for them. It just depends on how you learn.
Yeah.
But I definitely took the extra time to, make sure I had a bigger understanding of everything.
Yeah, that I feel like that's roughly on point with experiences at bootcamp schools. I tell people it's like if you're going to a full time bootcamp school, it's 40 hours in class, but it can be up to 80 hours outside of class doing coursework, studying. Especially, I mean, you went the proper route. You took it very academically. It's like, yeah, I want to internalize these concepts, so you made sure to study outside of class to learn it. So um, yeah, so it's not unusual. You did the correct thing to do.
Yeah, it's
um,
paid off.
so Joey's Bite asked a question about the curriculum. Are you learning design patterns, logic, higher level concepts, or just programming languages?
It's all of the above, I would say. You're always learning. There's not a point where you're not learning something, and they normally fall somewhere in between all three of those answers. Um, as stated, I like design, so I'm always learning new stuff. Like I remember speaking about late nights. I had to get my portfolio up because one of the internship partners were asking, to see some of my work. So I got it all responsive for a website, and then I put it on my phone, and it was a disaster. So I had to look up, media queries, and how to, change text based on, size of the screen. So that goes under design patterns. It's just another day in the office of, getting by whatever project's in front of you, and it could be any three of those
Yeah,
and more.
that's one of the values of, I feel like that's one of the values of working on your own projects and trying to push it, because you learn so much from just doing stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just laughing because Electric Havoc say if it's localized, if you localized it too. um, but it sounds like that type of curriculum similar to the mentoring that Electric Havoc has done. First week JavaScript, second week HTML, third week CSS, 4 week project, or some variation. So
Yeah, Ruby on Rails and SQL. It was all about a week, and you use more, you use some more than others.
and then we have another question for Coding for Life with a bunch of different numbers and letters at the end. So why'd you end up choosing the bootcamp that you're at? And if you want to talk, I guess, Learn Academy camp.
Oh, yeah, of course. So my friends all went to Hack Reactor, so I was really excited about doing that. I knew it was intense, and they told me that it was intense, but it was only offered in San Francisco, LA, and maybe a few other locations. Uh, I currently live here in San Diego, and I enjoy it, so I didn't want to move. I did some research, and I found great reviews about Learn Academy and the partnership with the with an internship. And I have found in college when I graduated, it was very hard to even get an internship by itself. So I scheduled a tour, and I thought this place was amazing. Going through the camp, I could vouch it is absolutely amazing. They have great mentors, and I was very satisfied. I just took a shot in the dark, and I think I made the right decision.
And then, so during your time during the boot camp, were there's any like, so, where your expectations going into the boot camp versus what actually happened in the boot camp? Was there anything that caught you off guard that you just did not expect whatsoever, or any challenges that you faced?
Uh, yeah, 100%. There's challenges. I talked about naive Steven earlier. I just thought I was going to go to this four 4 month program and people are going to be throwing jobs in my face, but it's quite the contrary. I found out through the boot camp I only remember about 10% of everything that I heard. There's just so much information coming your way, and it's a lot to do in 3 months, and everybody that's a developer in here knows, you can't remember everything, you can't retain everything. You just got to find a way to find the information and good information as quickly as possible, and you get better over time at doing so. That was the biggest takeaway of the boot camp, more so than what they taught me was how to teach yourself. So yeah, there's obstacles in every career path, and those were some that I found in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, teaching yourself is something that people don't realize is 100% an essential skill to have in development, and I'm not sure if anyone else wants to vouch for that too. You spend, I mean, during your bootcamp school, you have to learn for yourself, but outside of the bootcamp school, when you're actually working in a job, you do a lot of reading, you do a lot of research, you learn from other people's code. You never stop learning. So,
Yeah.
that is a skill that you need to pick up and realize that you need. You can learn it. You can learn it through a boot. You can gain it through a bootcamp school, but you can also learn it through independent study, learning on your own. But that's the most essential skill, and that's one thing you have to realize: is learning's not over once you graduate the bootcamp and you have a job. No, you have to continue learning if you want to continue to succeed in career. And then Looks like we have another question from Designing Zeal. And say, do you feel ready for the next step, and what is the next step for you?
I don't know if you're ever ready for the next step. You just got to go with it and hope everything's going well. So far in this internship, I've learned drastically. I think I'm going in a positive direction. A lot of unknowns, but I feel ready. I feel confident. You learn how to deal with stress in a better sense. Being overwhelmed, I just deal with it, and I know if you put in the time, there's going to be a positive outcome, which prevails in almost every situation. My next step is just to learn, continue to learn, and I think it takes time to get to the step where you're ready to be self-sufficient. Um, and I think I'm close to being there. I've done, having more time to do projects that I want to do will probably come after the internship, and really find my feet in the direction that I want to go in, as every developer probably does at some point. So yeah, just going down, that tree of knowledge that I was talking about, the T shape. I want to go down more languages and frameworks that I enjoy doing, and that's the next step for me.
For so because you've studied full stack, you've gone from the database server to the front end, doing HTML, CSS, and Java, like JavaScript development, and then the CSS responsive stuff. From those various points of learning, or various points, what has been the most satisfying? Where do you want to work? What's been the most satisfying to do for you?
Oh, I love the front end. I CSS all the way. I've looked at, we use Bootstrap, Bootswatch. I know of UIKitten, which is for mobile. You could pretty much, you know, have an application running in no time. I haven't done too much research on it, but it looks something like I want to get into. Uh, Maybe UX UI design, maybe take some of the Photoshop classes, and that's kind of the pathway that I'm looking towards. Got a lot on the plate right now, as I am doing full stack at the internship, and have been at the coding camp. So I still got a lot of branches to look into and really find out what I want to do. But I enjoy CSS a lot.
And that's that's cool that you'll enjoy CSS. I don't enjoy CSS as much, but that question's like that type of thought is good to have, because when you're starting off, and because you want to evaluate where you want to go in your career, and that's going to be a question you're going to be asked by, hopefully you're going to be asked by a good manager. Is like, where do you see yourself? Where do you want to go? Do you want to work on the front end, more on the front end, more on the back end? So being focused and knowing where you want to be in the stack, and continuing to build up your knowledge, is really valuable to succeed, or to land that first job too. Is like being hyper focused on where you want to be positioned in the stack, because also a recruiter or a manager, a hiring manager, can better place you, because they know it's like, oh, we need this person, that we do need a front end person that wants to focus on this type of stuff, and this you are interested in that, so they can place you for that.
Yeah, and that's funny, and that's why I think boot camps are great in the sense that they teach you such a wide range of knowledge. And I remember looking at some of my other members in the cohort, and I'd be like, "Whoa, that was really difficult," or "I hated that," and they looked at me, they're like, "What? I love that." And then I would say the same thing for CSS. They would hate doing it as you hate doing it. Everybody learns differently and enjoys different stuff, and that's what makes developing so fun. You get a team together, and you could have a really good outcome.
You can see the developer sentiment with CSS right
Yeah,
now.
I know a lot of people don't like CSS, but it is fun for me.
We need someone who likes CSS. I enjoy CSS a lot. Oh. And then let's roll over into, so Robert Tables has another question. So, are there
Yeah,
any things you wish you knew before you went into your boot camp? What you would tell a new boot camp recruit?
I think what I would tell people is I think it's on the individual to really apply themselves. You get what you get what you put into it. And I think a lot of people do go into the mindset that, I mean, I knew I was going to apply myself from the beginning, but I could see people going into boot camps and being like, all right, I'm going to do this program, but I'm going to, put in half the effort and I'm going to get the same result. And I, yeah, within the tech industry, we all know that that's not really possible. You got to spend those extra hours. You got to go into areas that you don't really know to get a result that you don't really know. And I think there's no guarantees, but I think it is a wonderful and great direction to go to if you don't know how to get to your end result or whatever it may be. Just getting into coding, they put you on the right track.
That's an interesting observation that some people come in and thinking like if they put in, as long as they graduate,
Yeah,
I'm gonna like, as long as they graduate, they can get the same caliber or same jobs that someone that put in the extra effort in uh, would get.
yeah.
And for your boot camps, so is that something you understood and like that you that your sentiment, your feelings, or was that something that the boot camp school had told you about?
No, that was my feeling. I just parallel that to a lot of things. In any career choice, you get what you put in. I think it's just something important to know in any scenario. Um, and I also think another addition to that is, which is very hard, and I still do, is don't compare yourself to other people. There are people that have gone to boot camps where you think they're just beginning, but they've been actually coding or doing tech for the last 3 years. Um, and they progress a lot faster, but you might shine in a different area. So I think when something doesn't make sense to you in the language or framework, and then it's working for somebody else, like it always that role always changes. So that's a really good piece of advice that I forgot to add.
Yeah, I think outside of just bootcamp schools, not comparing yourself to other people is very valuable advice, but it's also very difficult advice to follow.
Yeah,
And because personally, I mean, so the common term for this is imposter syndrome in tech world, and even though you could be the most confident person coding or know a lot, but you can still suffer from imposter syndrome because there will be other people you're going to compare yourself to. And thank you very much, David, for that follow, David Costa Dev. But yeah, it's you because like you'll work with other people that are really awesome in your team in your company, and you'll feel a little bit of a sense of like, oh, I don't know that much, or I'm not that good of a dev, because they appear to be so awesome, so skilled, and you're just like, to you so you that's something that you'll have to be struggling for the almost for the rest of your career, because it's like you're always going to come across someone that knows so much in an area, which is kind of funny because I read an article about from one of the core contributors to React. Dan Abramov has an article about what he doesn't know. So Dan Abramov, like he is one of the main React guys. He knows so much. He's building out React. He built Redux, if I remember, if I'm not misinterpreting that. But he in his article, he's like, yeah, it's like I know this, but here's all the stuff I don't know. I don't know about servers. I don't know about he goes to this whole list of everything he doesn't know. Just because it's like a good reminder. Just because someone knows is so good at something, that's just because that's what they're good at. They like what you know. They might not know anything about what you know. For example, if you get really good at CSS, people are going to be like, "Oh my God, you're amazing." A really good developer is going to be like, "Oh my God, you're amazing." And they're going to feel a little insecure about knowing, about their knowledge about CSS. Where inversely, you're going to be insecure because maybe they're an awesome JavaScript developer. So it's something to always keep in mind and always be mindful of is don't compare yourself to others. Everyone's good at something, not everything. Uh, let's see. So let's catch up with the chat. Um, there's far too much to know, so you'll always get to know something you don't know someone else. Always knows
Very
you
true.
don't. Yes. And but to be honest, I just started loving code when I had my first real coding job. Yeah. For myself, I you're I loved coding so I got started coding when I was younger, when I was a teenager. I did HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I customized my own MySpace page with CSS,
Thank
and
you, Tom.
and then I used Front Page from Microsoft, and that's how I got my passion for coding. But your passion for coding can ebb and flow. Sometimes you'll go through a rut and you're just not enjoying your doing, and sometimes you'll just be amazed and you're having a great time. And I feel like even so, if there's times stints where you love coding and then sometimes you don't, that's fine because everyone kind of goes through those ruts.
Hmm.
And also, you don't need to be uber expert to be super successful. Some people are very deep in a topic, down to assembly, and others wide and can integrate well. The whole gamut and yeah, six figures. True, true, 100% true. And thank you very much for that follow, Designing Zeal. Oh my god, and then oh my god, I remember doing that too much on MySpace. Okay, so yeah, so for the last portion of your internship or the not but for the boot camp, so the interesting position about your boot camp is that they offer everyone all the students get to do an internship, correct? Their last month of the boot camp, right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask, and luckily you're with us. There's one other intern that's with us also that I want to bring on also next week. So, but right now Stefan is the one that volunteered. He wasn't voluntold. He volunteered graciously to talk about his experiences. So now that you're in the internship phase, I was curious about just coming in, what you're looking to get out of an internship. Just tell them, yeah, just everything.
I still have the mindset of, you get what you put in. So I have great mentors at Zeal, which is the company that I'm at and that we're streaming through. And I'm just trying to pick their brains. I'm learning everything day by day, just becoming a better developer and understanding kind of what a company database looks like more so than creating a project from scratch and the back end and the front end because you've done everything, and actually pulling information and understanding how to refactor everybody else's code and intertwine it with your own, and just the process of how a company actually works is something that isn't taught in a boot camp, unfortunately, and I don't think there is a way to teach it in a boot camp. Because everything's very structured and you could go into a project that is very unstructured. And I think myself, you don't really know what to do. And then, you get stressed out and so on and so forth. So, I'm just going with the flow, taking it day by day, and I got great mentors to get me through it. So everything's looking positive.
Yeah, that's one of the values. So it's great that you chose a program that offers an internship for everyone that takes it, because it's those, like you're saying, that those what we call soft skills. Hard skills are you coding, actually producing stuff. Soft skills are the other stuff, attending meetings, going through storing out points, descriptions, asking questions about the work, about the tickets and scoping things, working with others, because we for Zeal, we want everyone to pair with somebody, so you're getting the pairing experience. So you're not working independently, you're pairing with someone, so you have to like work with them. And it's those soft skills that are definitely not taught and are one of the missing pieces in terms of an education coming out of a boot camp school, because it's like I think our one of our one of the co-founders of the company of Zeal, he gives a talk about adulting. You know, you need to, AKA being professional, right? You need to have ownership of what you've done. You need to have ownership of what you're doing, what you've done, and being able to take criticism and being able and communicate, right? If if you have to if something if something came up that, for example, like one of the other interns, like something came up yesterday for him that he couldn't that he had to take half the day off because he had to go back to his apartment for an inspection. Being able communicating that and letting people know during stand up, and not none of the don't show up for work, or you know DM someone only. You need to communicate with your team. You need to let everyone know so everyone's on the same page that, hey, I'm out, uh, and in case you want to try to reach me. It's all those little tiny soft skills that end up are missing, and usually lead up to a lot of ramp up time. Because I'm pretty sure, because you're only a week in, and I'm pretty sure there was a lot of eyes wide open in terms of the processes or before you get to actually work on the ticket. Correct?
Oh yeah, we're still going through the process. um, but it's a great process, and I think it's a very valuable process that that is the learning itself. You don't have to be coding, but getting familiar and getting onboarded within a company, that takes time too, and it will happen in time. And that's something that is definitely a big takeaway from the internship itself is how does this company work? How do they communicate? Communication is it's huge in any company, um, and it's huge at any time. So it's great to see all the external platforms and tech that you guys use, like Tuple, for example, to pair program. If my partner wasn't here yesterday, so he went home and I was able to code a little bit with him online, and it's just cool.
Yeah, Tuple's still a new product, so people aren't familiar with it. Tuple is pairing software that lets you do screen sharing. So um, I'm pretty sure more people are familiar with Screen Hero. That got bought up by Slack. Uh, a company by co-founded one of the co-founders is Ben Orenstein. He created pair programming software, and it's really nice. Also, check out VS Code LiveShare. So VS Code LiveShare is pretty cool. It's a really cool tool, but Tuple is really nice too because it's screen sharing. It's entirely screen sharing, but with the added effect. So with VS Code Live Share, you're only sharing what's in your VS Code. So people could only see what's in what you have open in VS Code. You're sharing that project space. Whereas with Tuple, you're doing a full screen sharing with voice, with voice, and I think you can do video too. I've never done the video portion, and then with the added effect, you can draw all over the screen if you need to. But when you're doing a three-way tuple, you can't do that. um, it's Mag. That's why I haven't heard of it. Yeah, yeah. So hopefully they move it to Windows. I'm not sure what the logistics are with how Windows works and screen sharing like that. Uh, and then I think we covered a little bit of bits and portions of this from like Robert Tables' questions and stuff like that. But I wanted to just ask you again on just in general, what are the overall words of wisdom for choosing a boot camp school, going through the boot camp and going through a boot camp school?
Yeah, I think you should definitely do your research. In my opinion, I believe that they're a great option, and I don't think I would be where I am today in the amount of time that I took um, to get to where I am without the help from my mentors and even your colleagues. As said, we do a lot of paired programming, and when something might not be clicking for myself, my partner might be, very straight edge and understand what's going on, and it could be vice versa. When he or she's having a hard time, I can know what's going on. So bouncing ideas and critical thinking with the partner is really nice. And um, my my wisdom is, enjoy what you're doing. It is stressful, but I think everybody who wants to learn can learn. Um, it's just like learning the language that, it takes time, it's repetition, and it's not the easiest thing, but stick with it. And that's what I've been doing, and I've been getting better by, some days I don't think I'm getting better, and maybe that I'm going backwards, but then a week goes by and I look back and I'm like, wow, I know a lot more than I did. And especially looking 3 months back, it's crazy how much you can learn in 3 months. And, they put you on a good track.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, to add on to that, and just in general for words of wisdom, for anyone that's graduating for a group bootcamp school, is it can take a while to find a job, just like any other job, and you need to continue to build. If you just like with anything
Yeah.
else, I do the analogy of a spoken language. If you don't if you don't practice speaking the language, you forget it. And the exact same thing happens with programming. If you don't practice programming, making tinkering, doing little projects here and there, you're gonna forget.
Mm-hmm.
But the benefit of tinkering and doing those little projects is that you can throw it on your GitHub and you can show it off. You attended the talk I did at the thing, and and one of the things I was telling everyone was just build dumb shit. It doesn't matter. Just build it and use it. Let's see. So having a positive attitude is a must through your whole career. Someday you'll wonder why people can even pay you anything. Why even pay you anything? Other days you saved the company's ass. From Robert Tables. Robert Tables has an interesting background to him because he didn't, he transitioned to being a developer also. Think if tell me from Robert Tables, but at one point you were a trucker, right? Jobs networking is 10,000% better than cold applying IMO. That is great advice to give. So for you, Stefan, make sure to network. The best way is to go to those meetups, join those Discords or those Slack channels for the communities, because people will be posting jobs. You'll be able to meet people at meetups, and if they know who you are and they know how passionate you are about coding, then they will have you in mind when there's a job opening too, because it's easier to hire someone that you're familiar with than just cold apply. And because it's not just about the skill, it's about, like I said, the soft skills. Do I like you? Do I want to work with you? And if they know you as a person and they meeting you at meetups and other events, and if they like you as a person, then they'll have a strong inclination that, hey, I might like you, I might like working with you, and maybe we can have you on as a developer.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I'll join all those groups. Send the links.
The Electric Havoc is wishing you the best of luck for your future.
Thank you, Electric Havoc.
Stefan, you got it. You can make Steph, you got it. You can make it your friends and mentors on the internet outside of your local network. True. You're not restricted to just face to face. You can make friends online. Go to online only networks. Highly valuable. Talk to them. Help them out or ask for help and get to know them. It can be online only communities too. It doesn't have to be in person. It can be online only. So I 100% agree with that. See, Robert Tables saying, I would 100% hire someone who would build dumb shit that doesn't work and can talk about why it doesn't work, compared to someone who doesn't have anything to show. Good? Yeah, and then Robert Tables is a long haul trucker in a previous in a old Robert, or naive Robert Tables. Should we go with that since we were talking about naive Stefan? I don't know.
Yeah. I want to touch up on Updog. He says, um, if you think you're an introvert, I think one of the mottos within the camp that we learned was, keep on going to these meetups and set yourself a goal. And, maybe you don't talk to somebody that day, but if you keep on going, maybe the next time you're like, all right, I'll talk to one person. And if you do, then, you could leave. And setting yourself up for like little goals, and, you don't have to run around a gathering and talk to every single person, but, just making yourself apparent is what's important. I've attended a few meetups. I would like to do more. I wish there's more days in the week with building your own projects, which is time consuming when you have this whole boot camp going, because in the boot camp you're doing projects all the time. Um, yeah, I just wanted to touch up on the introvert. I think it's still a good idea to go even if you don't talk to anybody.
Yeah, I want to touch on that too because even though I stream and I have a lot of fun or whatever, I'm actually an introvert also, and um, yeah, going to meetups and stuff like that. Even though so going to meetups is highly valuable, it's get to know people, but even for me, it's extremely difficult to do that cold start on a conversation. I just I rather just keep to myself than just randomly talk to people. So I have to practice basically you have to desensitize yourself to being an introvert in certain respects. You have to power through it, or you just have to find those little opportunities to do it. It's like sit down next to someone, like when you're both eating pizza, just sit down next to someone and just say, you know, try to say hello. All you have to
Yeah.
do is say hello the first time, and a conversation might start from that. And the thing I have to remember myself is don't beat myself up over not like a conversation not going anywhere. It just is what it is. It is who I am, and I can't change who I am. I can just practice at being better at certain things, but I try not to beat myself up over too much of it. So it's definitely hard being an introvert and trying to go to these meetups. But meeting one person, just one person, is is a significant change versus just not knowing anyone at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would classify myself as an extrovert, and it's still hard. There's a lot of things running through your mind. Am I good enough to talk about this tech stack after seeing somebody do like a presentation or a lightning talk? Do I have enough information to even have viable input? And those are things that run through my mind. But the point of these things are to learn, and to see what work is in the community and understand the community. I think that's just as important as learning how to code is what's going on and what's relevant. And yeah, I struggle to talk to people sometimes, but you just got to get out there, which I'm hoping to do soon.
Yeah, and then just like what Robert Table says about dang it, what Robert Table said about the just because someone looks like an extrovert doesn't mean they are, and that is 100% me in a nutshell. When you talk to me, it looks like I'm very outgoing, and if I give a talk, I'm very boisterous and very energetic. But when I get home, I am mentally drained. There's there's a concept for introverts is basically you have an introverts have like an energy level, and it's good to know just more about yourself and being an introvert, because introverts have an energy level. They have a tank, and a certain amount of meeting people, talking to people, slowly drains that tank, so that if you're going through a long day or a long meeting, and that you can drain that tank very quickly, and at some point that tank just gets drained and you don't want to talk to anyone, or when you get home you're just done, you're just out, you're just knocked out. I just want to watch TV and do absolutely nothing, or play a video game that doesn't have any social aspect to it. And that's me. When I get home, I am tired, and so yeah. So even though people look like extroverts, they might not be extroverts. So don't assume everyone's an extrovert, because at home they can be completely just lazy and not talk to anyone and just want to stay home and cuddle up in bed. or watch a stream. Exactly. Um, is there anything else you want to talk about, Stefan? Or I guess we can also use this opportunity if you want to show off anything else. Just talk about anything you've been doing or anything you're proud of in general.
Yeah, I mean, I've decided to take a bigger step into the CSS world. So I've been on Udemy, and there's a couple, great courses that you could take. So it's called OmniFood, was one of my projects where I'm making a complete. It's on my portfolio, but I'm making a complete like, food kind of restaurant-ish um, web service. Yeah, if you scroll down, I mean, what's more important? Yeah, it's the one on the bottom left. Yeah, and it's pretty much like that. And just doing the design of it, getting better with grid and Flexbox, and learning about a million other things. It's been really nice. Positioning is huge in CSS, and then I'm going to the next class, which talks about media queries and so on and so forth. So I'm glad to go down the CSS route and get more into UI and UX. So I'm just proud of almost everything that I've done. It all takes time.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I would say for your projects, if for the tiles, you should either link to the site
Yeah,
or
they're not up yet.
just link to the GitHub source code.
Okay, cool. I can add
Because
that.
because if I'm evaluating you and I'm looking at this and I just see these, I don't know where to look. And yes, you do have like the GitHub here or these GitHub links here, but these are actually super dark, so they're not noticeable. So I would actually just make these bright, and anyone else can provide feedback too. But I would want
Yeah,
these bright. I don't like leaving them dark is hidden because you want this is content you want them to look at.
yeah,
Um,
I agree.
yeah, so even though you have them up here, like or up here, having them down there too helps a lot. And yeah, and just link to the source code, even if the site's not up, source code, because I want to go in, I want to click on here, and I want to see the source code you wrote for it, even if it's not up. So,
Yeah, sounds good. Always a work in progress.
yep. Let's see. So that's kind of bringing the end to the conversation. Does anyone else have anything they want to ask? Any words of wisdom? Anything like that you want to impart to Stefan or any other prospective boot camper out there? Might do some SEO. Couldn't find it on Google. That'd be interesting. That'd be an interesting thing to also to look into is try to figure out how to work in some SEO.
Yeah, I definitely can.
One thing to do is write down like make a list if you haven't already. Make a list of a bunch of ideas of things you want to try to do so you don't forget them in terms of because you're always going to have like little ideas that pop up in your head. Try to keep a list. I try to be good at this, sometimes I forget, but make a list of things that you want to try to do, want to try to dabble in, so you can actually try it. If not, you're going to forget. Sometimes I want to try to do something and I forget, and then I'm like, what was that thing earlier today I wanted
Yeah,
to do?
there's so many projects. I don't even think I have my, or I know I don't. I don't have my capstone project, which was our biggest project out of the boot camp. That's not displayed, so I still got some editing to do in my portfolio.
Yeah. One thing I've told the previous cohort, also interns, also is for the capstone project, you can like if you wanted to, you could always fork it and add to it. Just because you worked on it together for the capstone project, you can still fork it and add
Yeah,
to it, do more to it, and that's I mean you already have a working application hopefully, and just build on top of it, make it better, and then that's more pieces of conversation to have with the prospective employer about what you've done, what things you've changed and all that type of stuff. So make things your own at this, like obviously acknowledge the people that you worked with, but
yeah,
also add your flavor, add your branded Stefan flavored code and style to it.
yeah. I totally agree. There's a lot to work on. There's an infinite of things that you could be working on, and yeah, making something your own, and working on that. I definitely could have a few more side projects, which I hope I could get up and running once everything is flowing smoothly at the internship, and definitely after the internship, I think there's a lot of side projects that I would love to work on
Yeah.
and take all these skills and put it into that.
One thing you could try to do, because it is daunting to try to do a side project and you're like, oh god, I gotta put it up on GitHub and then put it and then host it, put it on, either make a GitHub page and stuff like that. One thing definitely you should try to do is you can put it on CodePen. Make a profile on CodePen, and those little tinkering things you do, like like a button or other stuff you're playing with, especially stylistically, you can put it on CodePen and then have that as and on your portfolio to show stuff like this person here glitching bare face. So if it's small, so you don't, because so it's small, it's bite sized, you don't have to worry about web hosting it or where you're going to put it. You can do a little sandbox here on CodePen where you're experimenting and showing stuff, and then incorporate it into your larger portfolio website or larger website as a whole of whatever it's going to be. So that's a good
Yeah, that's really
strategy.
cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into this. I've never heard of it.
Awesome. Glad you got, glad you got some help out of that, UpDoc. Yeah. So yeah, I think that brings us to the end of the stream. So if there's no more questions or curiosity from other people in the chat, I'll leave Stefan to get back to work. Get him off of just being able to get back to his daily life. Yeah, so that's it. We'll just call it. We'll still keep the stream up, but we'll be calling it with Stefan for now. And looking forward to having you back, Stefan, at the end of the 4 weeks, just to talk about your overall experiences with the internship, and definitely what you learned, and talk about what you learned, and more
Yeah.
words of wisdom for any prospective person. That we got the chat.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, and thank you for everybody participating and listening to me.
Let's see. So Sigma, yeah, you just joined. So what was your background? I guess Sigma just wants to know what was your background. If you just want to talk about just real quick about
Oh
that
yeah.
again for Sigma.
So I've been in the food industry. I was first a pizza boy, I think at 18, and then throughout I worked at a variety of restaurants, paying my way through college, and yeah, I just graduated in 2019, um, and then I made the quick jump to go to tech before I really got myself out in communications and business.
Cool. I think yeah, we can talk about it after. So I'll leave you go, Stefan. And yeah, thanks so much for the conversation. And
Yeah, of
next
course.
week we'll be doing this again. Well, I guess you can top off, Stefan. Feel free.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. All right, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed this content. I next week I plan on doing this again on Friday today at 2 p.m., where we're gonna have the other half of the internship coming in. So you'll be able to go through this again, but we'll get this perspective of our next intern. So if you missed out on today, you can try to catch the VOD. If not, you can join us on next Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we'll be talking to another intern, and you can ask questions live, and get all those burning questions you have about bootcamp schools. If you're already a seasoned developer, there's perspective of a new developer, upcoming developer, imparting words of wisdom. So thank you everyone for imparting words of wisdom. This helps both Stefan, it helps myself to know, to help give advice to other people, and it helps anyone that's going to watch the VODs, or yeah, watch the VODs, come back and reading the chat. So it was really great. So thanks so much for all that. So is there any, let's see, so pizza delivery is legit cash money. No problem there. I've never done pizza delivery. I worked at a Mexican when I was a teenager. I worked at a Mexican food fast food Mexican food restaurant. That was not any sort of cash money change or anything like that. That was grueling, sweaty work at times. But yeah, thank you, Lily, for hanging out and everyone else. Did I get free burritos? No. There was a limit to what we could get for free food. I mean, we could get the food for free, but we couldn't get everything for free. So, no free burritos, unfortunately. Codephobia. Yeah, let me highlight that. They paid in burritos only. That is work. That's sweaty work if they're paying in burritos only. Oof. All right. So, is there any? So, I just want to take this moment if there's any feedback that anyone has, if anything else you want to hear from, talk about next time that we can that I could potentially bring up. Feel free to let me know right now. So next Friday, I can make sure to try to incorporate that as part of a conversation we have. So what are my goals for 2020? I have, let's see. So that is a good question. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but I made a blog post about it. Okay, so I'll take this opportunity to do some self promotion about a blog post I had written, which is really timely. The one blog post that I've written is the first one is how do I get started coding? So this one is as it sounds, something I wrote on Dev2 about, you know, how do you get started coding? So and it's positioned from the, let me share my screen. So it's positioned from the different avenues of learning you can go through. Self-learning, um, vocational school, adult school, community college, coding boot camps, and then 4-year university bachelor's degree. So hopefully, for those that are looking to learn, the pros, cons, and advice help you. There's some good advice at the bottom in a comment, and also there's links to a bunch of different learning resources that you can put that would hopefully be helpful to you. Thank you very much for that follow, Codephobia. What's up? Yeah, so there's this, and then I did make another blog post about a year-end one-on-one meeting with myself. So this is a retrospective of the past year, but on here I'm looking to, for myself for 2020, I'm looking to try to get into some video blogging, YouTube channel content creation, attending more meetups. I want to go to more meetups. I want to try potentially talking at more meetups. I want to attend a conference, and then the big pie in the sky goal is to submit a talk to a conference, and well, I guess submit a talk and actually do that talk. Submitting a talk is different from actually doing the talk, but that is those are my 4 goals to do. Stream the talk. If I do talks at meetups, I will 100% try to stream those. 100% guaranteed. Try to stream those, and I'll also throw it up on my YouTube channel. You just realized it was a company channel? Yeah, on Fridays, streaming from the company channel or from the Zeal channel. Am I open to more conference talks that are remote? Yes, I am. Yes. I haven't partaken in any remote conferences myself yet, but yeah, I'm 100. I would be 100% interested in doing even like a remote speaker conference. Definitely. I mean, if I wanted to, I want to do them locally. I just want to do more talks in general because I feel like um it gives me more experience on articulating my thoughts, and I get to meet awesome people like all of you, which is the reason why I love streaming too, is because I get to meet people that from all walks of life, all experience levels, and get to have wonderful conversation with you. You you're all helping me, and hopefully I am helping you, and we get, this, we enjoy life. Twitch and life. So let me copy and paste the one-on-one meeting bobber. Yep. Yeah. So any other feedback about today, about what I can do better? I'll try to fix the desync. I'll try to figure out how to fix the desync issue with Skype. I think it has to just do with the audio stuff. I had to get my audio setup on my Mac is very quote unquote sophisticated. So I need to tweak it a little bit more and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll figure that out next time if that was throwing anyone off. Also, I want to get that audio into the closed caption. So I need to do that too. Capture the audio so I can both close caption myself and the person speaking for accessibility. So I'm going to archive this. I'm going to not archive it, but I'm going to highlight this so this video will live on Twitch forever. And also I am going to be I'm going to try to post this on YouTube. So if people want to watch this on YouTube on the Coding Zeal channel. So join the Discord if you want any links or anything like that. Okay, I don't have it as a command. It feels bad, man. If you want any links or anything like that, follow up. If you have any questions, feel free to try to stop by my Discord. Let me try to pull it up. Mabar. This is the first show I saw, so I don't have a ton of feedback. It was great. Yeah, the shows are going to be definitely want to have more. Do we need a Coding Zeal Discord? Maybe. Yeah, if we want a Coding Zeal Discord, we can make one right now. I'm just encouraging people to go to my Discord channel. It'd be nice if like Slack just let you do an open invite link to a specific chat. That'd be cool too, because you're not bifurcating all this bunch of stuff. Oh, I do have a shout out command. I didn't realize I had made a shout out command. Where's my Discord? There we go. Here's the command. Oh, thanks for saying that was a solid. I know. Thanks, me. shout out to me. Oh no, it didn't work. No. Oh, is it because I'm not in the chat? See. No, it's because I'm not. Okay. Oh, let's see. Is it gonna work for Robert Tables? Hey, but yeah, let's do some shout outs where shout outs are due. Robert Tables is another science and technology streamer. Great person. You can talk to them. They're doing hardware, software, and TED Talks. So if you just want to have a good conversation with someone that has lots of words of wisdom and a beer in his hand, feel free to hit up Robert Tables. And then Codephobia, another developer streamer, focusing on Angular. So check him out. Are we talking about Robert Tables? Yes, we're talking about Robert Tables and how check him out along with Codephobia. And Dr. Argus is just getting back into streaming, working on Unity, making game. Are you making a whole game or only a prototype? Prototypes of games right now, Dr. Argus. I know it is. Thank you very much for everyone stopping by. It was great again for all those questions, everyone. Thank you very much. Making a Twitch over game right now. It'll run on my stream forever. Nice. Thank you, Stream Elements, for telling me about the Discord now. All right. So I think that is it for today. So hit me up on Twitch, Twitter, or Discord if you want to continue the conversation and look for any help, advice, or anything like that. So yeah, I wish Stefan could see this kind of network you need to build as a pro, right? He might be lurking, if not, but yes, it's a type of network you should be building. I went a very long time without building a network, and it feels good to be a part of a network. It really is. It's something that I definitely didn't do that I should have done and followed through. Yeah, I'll see him. I'll poke him. I need to get a stick so I can poke him to get his attention. I kid. All right, thanks everyone. I will see you on Friday, next Friday at 2 p.m. where we're going to do another one of these conversations with another intern about coding boot camps. So tune in then, ask him plenty of questions, and maybe we can tease out some more great advice for people that are looking to get into software development or a coding bootcamp school. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you later. Bye.